Hi everyone, welcome back to the Hollywood Actor's Guide to Surviving the Film and Television Industry. This is your host, Jennifer Lynn Warren. We are here to talk about all things acting, business, and survival. First up, acting. The purpose of your acting technique is to free the unconscious so that you can surrender to the character. The purpose of technique is to free your unconscious so that you can surrender to the character. This is what I see happening, and I am guilty of everything I talk about on this podcast as well. So, I am not the greatest actor in the world yet. I'm working on it, as are we all. But your technique is there, like working on what your subtext is, what your character's feeling, what your beats are, what your arc is, the emotional life and journey of your character. You do all of that work almost in this academic style, right? And then when the lights come on and the cameras are going, you need to let it all go. That's why it's very common for a casting director to tell you to throw it away, or a director to tell you to throw it away. That's because instead of being angry in the scene, you're inflecting anger upon yourself, which is not acting, it's false, and it comes off as bad acting. What does that mean? If you are uninflected, which you should be, a director's shot list should be uninflected, like everything about a film should be uninflected so that it doesn't feel like anything is forced. When you just be as a human being and you don't think, oh, I need to be angry here, or oh, I need to blah, blah, blah here. If you have really understood the script and you can allow yourself to be in the moment, which a lot of method actors love that, just be in the moment. That's where method acting in that technique is so wonderful. You shouldn't ever try to cry or try to be sad or try to be angry or try to be anything. You should just be. And trust me, if you've done the work, it's going to come across to the audience. And it's going to be a wickedly strong audition tape. And that is what's going to get you booked. When you are thinking about all of your work that you've done as an actor, and you've not allowed yourself to free your unconscious, your conscious mind is working in overdrive and you're not able to let go. And we can see that work on camera. So work on getting all the work you need done for the character before you show up on set or before you step in front of that camera. Because if we're working on objectives and beats in the middle of your self-tape, you probably were not ready to self-tape yet. So do the work so you can unlock the consciousness, your unconsciousness, and you can surrender to your characters. Let's talk some business. There's a lot of stress right now about callback ratios. Actors are like, oh, ever since self-tapes, my callback ratio has gone down. No, it hasn't. Your callback ratio, in fact, may have gone up, but you are completely unaware of it. Here is what is happening. Now that we are in the world of self-tapes, you do your self-tape, you send it to the casting director. It used to be you'd walk into the room and you would do your audition for the casting director, and the casting director would select actors to go to the callback. That is no longer how this business is running. Now you do your self-tape. The casting director is taking your self-tape and sending it to the producer and director, and that is your callback, and you are never even told of it or made aware that you are getting this callback. So your callbacks are not going down. You're just never finding out about them. Because a lot of my friends are really freaking out. They're like, I'm never getting called back. And I'm like, are you sure? Because tapes are just going off and those are your callbacks now. And it's unfortunate because it's now your third callback, or your second callback, I guess you'd say, or the second time you're actually being seen, or third time you're being seen if you count you putting yourself on self-tape for the casting director is the first time you're being seen. That tape going to director and producer, which is your callback, as your second time being seen. The third time you're being seen is what you are used to as the second time being seen, which is actually your producer-director session. So it's actually where your chemistry reads are already starting to happen, and so the process has accelerated. So take a deep breath. Stop freaking out about your callback ratio. I know a lot of people on here they like numbers. They like sending me how many auditions they've done and how many callbacks they've had. It no longer works that way. So stop stressing about it. Just assume every audition you send off is at least going to the director and producer, and that's your callback, because we no longer can know what our callback ratio is until we get back into the rooms. If we ever get back into the rooms, because I think now that we're used to this, even if we do go back into the rooms, it's not going to be for the initial audition anymore, and it's not going to even be for the sending your tapes off for your callback. Once the director and producer have decided who's coming in for chemistry reads and who they really want, that's actually going to be what used to be our second callback is going to be the first time we're getting into the room. So you guys are going to have to just be used to all of it, and don't complain about it. It's useless. There's no reason to complain about it. Just get comfortable with it. Make it part of your routine. Maybe do a self-tape study group with some friends where this is just the way it is, so you can still practice going into the room and practicing your self-tapes, and keep the muscle strong. That's all we can do. Complaining how things are going now with self-tapes, not helping anybody, especially you guys. It's especially not helping you. And finally, let's talk about a little bit of survival. And in that, I want to talk about a little bit about your personal trauma. And this is your trauma from childhood. And this trauma is, and we all have it, no one's immune. Even if you had the most perfect, loving parents, that's traumatic to your acting life, because that becomes the archetype of what you think your characters should be. So let's say you are playing a dad in a scene. What you think a dad should look like, act like, sound like is going to be very, very influenced by your childhood. Same thing with like what you think a brother and sister should act like, look like, and sound like. Best friends. We have all of the archetypes from our lives that we can bring into these characters. Now, that can be a really great thing if you are aware of it. So you're now aware of it. So it's a good thing. But most of us, this is an unconscious bias that we are putting on characters. This came up in a coaching session recently where the actor had been in a very educated family. His father was a lawyer, and so he grew up like with high grades, expectations and such. Very intelligent actor. And his character, the son that he was supposed to be the son of, was very smart, but the father was uneducated and very dumb. And because the father of the character he was playing was uneducated in the script, he wasn't playing his character as educated, because he couldn't get over the mental hurdle of how could my character sound smart if his dad is so dumb, right? And I don't mean to be condescending for like intelligence here, but it's easier, in acting, it's much easier to get these types of points across in generalities. So generally, and so I was like, listen, just because you became what your father is doesn't mean this character became what his father is. And so you have to look at these things and these preconceived notions we have about people. And I put this under survival because I do believe in therapy and looking very closely at your own judgments and your own biases, because it'll make you healthier and happier in life and a better actor. So as an example, you could sit down and write out archetypes like mother, father, brother, sister, lover, child, son, daughter, and what you think, like the first things that come to your mind that those people would be, especially have an audition, and then start looking for the opposites and make sure that your own bias isn't on there, or go to a coach. Speaking of coaches, we are once again sponsored by weaudition.com, weaudition.com. If you want to make money, go on WeAudition, become a reader. If you need a reader for your self-tapes, you need some coaching, they're there. So many people read for free on there. How many times have you bothered your friends for a reader? So many times. Too many times, everyone. So go on WeAudition, use promo code HAG25 for 25% off your membership for life. Forever and ever and ever, you will get 25% off. That's weaudition.com, promo code HAG25. And that's it. That's everything today. I hope everyone is having a wonderful summer. Break a leg out there, and remember, you are not alone.